Good morning, everyone. Before we get into this morning's update, I'd like to go over a quick overview of what is transpiring this early morning. As we know, today is the election in the USA, and we could get some very, very volatile pricing as the day goes forward. We're going to not only look at the XRP technical analysis, we're also going to look at the XRP liquidation zones. Well, maybe not the liquidity, how much liquidations have happened long versus short. We'll take a look at where the long versus shorts are held and the percentages. We'll also take a look at where the Elliott wave leaves XRP in terms of its own technical analysis, and what the opportunity going up and obviously going down as well are here in front of us this morning. And what we're looking at on Bitcoin is it's up 1,000 points on the day, up 1.48%, as Bitcoin bounced off of its megaphone pattern, the support structure, but it hasn't really gone up terribly. But we'll take a look because Bitcoin still has these massive liquidation zones. We have a few liquidation zones we talked about if we wanted to get up to 70, 71K. So it is possible we knock out that liquidation first. But XRP failed to break and materialize over a very key level around the... We'll go over XRP as it's continuing to fail to materialize over the short-term consolidation and allow it to even run through the rest of this pattern. So with the short-term consolidation with XRP, it's just continuously getting beaten up here. And we'll go into the exact time, and then I'm going to do the intro. But I just wanted to give a quick overview. But 51.41 right now in current times, it needs to bust over that to invalidate this next short-term drop to 47 cents. Otherwise, it's going to keep this door open, and we know we have a much larger bear flag, which we'll touch on once we get into this. We'll take a look at, I have an article that perfectly develops and puts into perspective the Elliott wave, which I think is important to pay attention to. We've got the Bitcoin heat liquidation map, which we've been looking at the last couple days. We're going to start out in the shortest time frame possible, and by the time we're done, we'll pull it out to about the 3 monthly time frame, so that we can get a better look at the liquidation zones. We got the Ripple XRP. Will go all the way from open interest through the funding rates, liquidations, long short ratio, and then the basis at the end. We'll look at the crypto fear and greed index, but we got to get through all of this in about a 20-minute period. So please make sure to hit that like button. So YouTube does recommend this update. This audience has done an absolutely spectacular job over the last 3 to 4 days. Our morning videos are getting over 1,500 views a piece the last 3 days, and this is going to be probably the most important one that we have found, as we know, because the market can move in such a way. So please make sure to hit that like button so I can do this short intro. Good morning, 7:57 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So the first things first, for XRP, before you even cut through any of the noise, before you look at any of the potential, you always look to see where we sit in regards to this 2018 resistance that is now acting as a layer of support for the last month and a half or 2 months now. That was a resistance from the swing high at just about $3.78, depending on exchange. On this exchange, it was $3.38. It took 27 months to get all the way to the swing low, which was right around 10.6 cents in March of 2020. This uptrending support in the current times is at 42 cents. The downtrending resistance in current times as support is at 47 cents. The technical target on that bear flag is 42 cents. The technical drop gets you just over 47 cents on the short-term formation that is currently getting rejected twice yesterday. We even came up and had an overzealous run overnight to almost 52 cents. Could not materialize. So when I'm looking at this, as much as I want XRP to break out bullishly, as much as I want this to happen, I'm going to make sure that it breaks out of the area it must break out of first before I get too excited. So we know that 51.41 cents is that first area. Now let's say it broke that. We get over the 52.8, which is the resistance on that formation, and we start breaking up. Well, in that event, we would start coming up near 58.8 cents. However, we got rejected there multiple times on that downtrending resistance. And here, let me take out the drawing tool real quick. We not only got rejected here, we got rejected here, got rejected here. So the fact we keep getting rejected at this down sloping resistance, that is not a great sign. Now, if we could pull this and use this as a consolidation here, we could limit the downside risk, but we've already seen how to limit that risk. We've got to get above this short-term consolidation that dropped us down and try to somehow battle that rising channel and invalidate that bear flag. But we also have to invalidate a much higher thing as well. The bear flag is one thing, but that daily time frame death cross, and it is very windy out here, but I'm running out of days to do this outside, and today just happened to be 63 right now when I woke up. So I'm going to take advantage of one last outdoor update, even though I missed my winter wonderland that is usually behind me the last couple days. But right now we're looking at XRP, because some could speculate maybe it's an inverted hammer. You never know. You never know. I don't like how far back it pulled, but there is still 11 hours, and I know we're going to have extreme volatility with the U.S. election today. I mean extreme volatility. We've got Bitcoin, like we said, up 1.5%. It's bouncing off the 67,700 right now, and as long as that's the case, it is a very bullish consolidation. The problem is this Bitcoin is overextended. So unless we get some true volatility to the top side, we have to make sure it doesn't come to those liquidity zones down deeper. Now, I suppose, like we said yesterday, if it bounces off here, we can go to the upper liquidity zones, and that could get you all the way to 74, 75K, and that's what we're going to be watching for. We're going to be watching for this, and now that it looks like a short-term W is formed, we have to see how this plays out in its entirety. So, let's show the megaphone real quick for anybody who's new. But this megaphone pattern is a very bullish setup on the consolidation on a cup and handle. The megaphone is technically a bullish consolidation. Now, the only question we have is if we're going to have a significant fall off down into the liquidity zones, it would have had to fallen through here. This would have to act as a head and shoulders. So, you know, it's tough, because the fact that it's on the top side, as much of the bearish bias as we can see in the charts and in the liquidity zones, we have to let it do its proper setup needs to play out. So right now it's above that 67,700. It's got about 1,100 points of room. Now, am I saying that can't reverse in a heartbeat? That is not what I'm saying. Because look at XRP. If Bitcoin just drops or XRP fell from the swing high overnight, you're looking like you're back around that same area of 67,700 plus, 67,800. So today what I'm saying is extreme volatility. I tried to go through the charts in a way that I thought made sense. Even today, gold, silver, it's all over the place. Last night it was down 10 bucks. This morning it was up 10 bucks. Now it's flat. During the election, I suspect we will probably get more diving in the metals. But, you know, I've been surprised before. As I expect the U.S. dollar, as the election gets going, do we expect it to continue flailing? Maybe. But eventually it will. But right now we're just in that no man's land in the market with the election. It's literal no man's land. This is where the futures market is very interesting if you're a leverage trader, because you've got so much liquidity pouring in and pumping out at the same time. You've got so many differing opinions on which way we're going to go, and then the market setup goes the same. But we already know all of this has been printed in. So anything that's going to happen today has been baked into the market. I'd like to start here. I want to start with the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, only because I think it's incredibly important today. So the last 12 hours, we're going to see what kind of liquidations we opened up. It's not going to be a terrible amount, but we've got over the top, yeah, small amounts up here, nothing major in the last 12 hours, nothing over 100 million to the top side. Daily, because we already know the low side, we've got liquidations that are starting to pile up here. Even in the shorter time frames, we've got 140 million, but now over the top here in the 13 hours, you got 150. This is where we were talking yesterday. 70,000, we have 152 million in the short term. 136 million at 69,400. So it could absolutely go up there and grab that before it goes farther down. That's what we speculated yesterday, is if we were going to go up there first. If you look at the 3-day, you can see 327 million around 70K. 300 million. Yeah, so that 70K area is where it seems like you could get some kind of tug. We've got 300 $455 million, just about $1,000 up from where we're at right now in the 3-day. Let's go into the weekly. And this is important. To me, it's important. In the weekly, it starts to open up a little bit higher. 73,400 area. There's 476 million. So almost a $500 million of liquidations around that 73,450. So if we get hot to the top side, I could certainly see us going back into that area. Now let's take this into the monthly, because then we can see a little bit of a constricted view of what's starting to add up over the last month or so. And this will open up. Okay. So again, if you look at the monthly, you've still got 400 million zones up here. So 73,450, there's 476.64 million of liquidation. But it's starkly in contrast, and it doesn't even add up to how much liquidation is below. Like that 1.21 billion at 64,550, up another about $100,000 more of liquidation in that zone today than yesterday. But that's 1.21 billion at 64,550. Now I'm not naive. If this W plays out, I could see us going to that 74, 75K, but I also know that 64,550 will be dealt with in time. That liquidation zone will be dealt with in time. Now let's go out into the 3-month and see what the liquidation looks like. Because I think it's very important for us to start tracking this in a way where we can see this in a grand way. I really, really do now. So now we look at the liquidation zones in the 3-monthly. Over the top, I mean, it's very minute compared. You got that 300 million zone, or 150, 200, 300. But now when you start looking below, I mean, even when you look at it in the several month outlook, you still got that same liquidation zone. But it's much more, because some of it's been dealt with, you know, over the last 3 months. That's why I like to keep it into the monthly, because you've got this short term that it's never revisited. So now you come into those areas where we haven't revisited yet. So it's very, very tricky to say, are we going to go up to 74K before we come down to that strong $1 billion plus liquidation zone at 64,550? But it could, because if we take it into the 3-day, and I like doing this, you take this into the 3-day, you can see what you've created over the last couple days of the drop. So you could certainly see there's several hundred million in liquidations. I think the strongest liquidation zone is right around that 69,850 at 342 million. So, you know, you're getting 4 or 5 to 1 if you go liquidate down below, but could you go up higher to get that liquidation to give you the overall steam to fall through? That is the question. So pay attention to that. And then let's look through this so we can read the Elliott wave, and then I got to release this. Open interest right now, you got 524 million, down about 0.32% over the last 24 hours. And right now, leading the way is Bybit at 254 million, Binance 206 million, OKX 43.3, BitMEX 7.3, Kraken 4.6, BitFinex 3.8, Huobi 3.6, and WooX 708,000. We've got the funding rates right now, I would assume are positive. Yeah, positive funding rates all across the board. Liquidations, we've got long liquidations at 1.2 million. We've got short liquidations at 256,000. Binance was the strongest liquidation platform. Then we've got Bybit, followed by OKX and Huobi. And it's pretty interesting. You've only got very small areas where people are making profit. What is going on here? Okay. Long-short ratios. We've got, in the 5-minute and the 4-hourly, a 2.58 to 1 on longs. The short, 72.08% to 27.92%. In the 30-minute and the 1-hourly, we've got 2.59 to 1 at 72.16% going long, 27.84% going short. And in the daily, we've got 2.56 long to short ratio, 71.9% going long, 28.1% going short, which is interesting at best. A lot of balls out here today, it looks like, apparently, going into the election. Basis, you can just see some of the open interest volume, yada, 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 on the different exchanges. And then I need to read this. If you're looking to trade XRP and you want to be a part of what's coming next, especially if we get this big drop point, make sure you go to the video description below and or pinned comments in this very video below in the comments. you can find the exchanges that I use. So BITUNIX I'm using for when we get our eventual drop, which I believe we will, but nothing's ever certain. But Algo, IOTA, IOTX, and a couple others, XRPs worldwide, including everywhere in the USA, no VPN or KYC, and I have copy trading available that I'm not doing anything yet. I've already tested it out. It was a $5 as I bought and sold it, but everything was on point. Less than a $1 fee to open up a 10x, $170 fee. When I sold it, less than $1, and I only let it go through for a couple minutes so that I could see how the exchange worked. It is phenomenal. So if you want to join me on copy trading, you're more than welcome to do that. I'm looking for the next opportunity if Bitcoin comes down around that liquidity zone at 64,500. And then if you want to join me as well on Motivated Money, Winning Wednesdays, and FOMO Fridays when we get it started here shortly, HOTCOIN as well you're going to need, because they have VELO, SHX, and a couple others that we'll be compounding into. They also have XRP, and both exchanges allow leveraging. However, I prefer BITUNIX because the fees are exorbitantly cheaper than anywhere else I've ever found. So take advantage of that. If you want to support my program, you can do Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal, or you can send a YouTube Super Chat, or I would love to see new members of Tom's Army, but it's not required. Just make sure to hit that like button so YouTube recommends this update. It allows it to pass on through the algorithm, and YouTube will display it on their news feed because I'm part of the recommendations. And then whether or not you're part of my channel or not, you'll be able to see my content in real time and allow more viewers and wider eyes. I do this technical analysis in a way of love and positivity because I am simply tired of all the hate in the world. It's become simply too much. So I've taken off any kind of negativity that I used to do, even when I would bash somebody, and we're doing this from a standpoint of love. Love over hate always conquers. Remember, you need the darkness because it allows the light to shine through, and you need the light to extinguish the darkness and engulf it. We're not the victim here, and we never have been. So if it's your first time in here, we do not play the victims in the comment, because we are the winner. And being the winner, because we've never been the victim, nor have we, are we now, or have we ever been? So we don't play the victim, we play the winner. So we have to have all the information and education and news perspective alike to make from the news and charting perspective, make an educated and informed decision. So that's what we do here. So please, unify through love, unify through the power of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and unify through the power of positivity. That's what we need to do. The power of positivity. It's a world filled with such hate and despair and disdain. So the XRP USD Elliott wave technical analysis. So the function is a counter trend, mode corrective, structure flat, wave C, direction next degree, next higher degrees, wave 2 of impulse. Wave 2 is likely to be completed, and the price will likely rise in wave 3. So wave 2 of impulse is still corrective phase. Wave 3 is the rally. So XRP US dollar trading strategy, the correction in wave 2 seems to be over, so we focus on the 5-wave rally of wave 3. Now we need to see if it's over. If it's over, we'll have a nice push up. And as we know, we have a cup in hand, and if wave 3 is ready to take over, which I'm not convinced we're ready to end wave 2 yet. That's just my personal opinion. The price action remains in an uptrend, and we are looking for a re-entry into the trend. Technical indicators, the price is below the moving average 200, indicating a downtrend. The wave oscillator is a bearish momentum. So function counter trend, mode corrective, structure flat, position wave C, direction next higher wave 2 of impulse. Details, wave 2 is likely complete, yada yada yada. So XRP US trading strategy, the correction in wave 2 seems to be over. As we can see, the price is below the moving averages. It's just a simple analysis. No need to watch the video. I just wanted everybody to see which wave we were in. And then if it goes into a wave 3, which would end up being the impulse wave, it suggests a target up to about $1.20, which I would not disagree with if we can break out of this cup and handle, because I have a target as well up to $1.15 area. So that is not out of the question. So pay attention to all of that. A lot of information this morning. And then we have to go into the crypto fear and greed before I leave. It's still at 70, so greed still. This is not a good sign. This is not a good sign, because if there's so much greed, eventually it's going to drop off. Greed always ends up flipping to fear, and that ends up being the biggest buying opportunity. So I'm not convinced here. I'm not convinced. I feel like they did this overnight, and now we're going to end up having a continuation. So we'll see what happens. We know all of the zones. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. Make sure to hit that like button so YouTube recommends this. I'll be back later this morning to do the short, actually early afternoon. As my son's in his physical therapy, I'll do an update. Other than that, Have a good day. Hashtag be better, do better in the comments if you made it until the end. And other than that, don't let your emotion dictate your response here. Be consistent, but there's going to be a lot of volatility today, as we know with the election.